It is now such an honor and a privilege to be joined using StreamYard with Tobie Verreynne. Good morning, Tobie. I hope you and your family are all well.
Good morning, Jonathan. Yes, we are well, thank you.
That's so good to hear. So Tobie is joining us from his office at home, and this morning we need to talk about marriage. But before we get into the discussion of marriage, just to give you a bit of background, Tobie and his wife Zanelle have been married for 22 years. They have 3 beautiful kids, and they've been a part of establishing and helping marriages to thrive for many, many years, a ministry background and so forth. So Tobie, let's get into it. And it's sad to look at the reality of if one were to say, to dip in and register the health or how our marriages are doing in South Africa. What are some of the stats that you've seen?
Yeah, it is really very concerning. The most recent stats I've got is there's about 130,000 marriages every year, registered every year. And in that same year, an average of 23,500 divorces in that same year. So that's really alarming. That is a lot of people just ending their marriages in divorce. And if you break it down, it comes down to 2,107 per month, 527 per week, 75 divorces a day. That comes down to 3 divorces every single hour.
So that's scary.
Yeah, that should be alarming. Now, I'm not saying every single hour of the day 3 divorces, but that is what it breaks down to. I mean, in every given hour of the day, there's about three marriages that end in divorce. So the alarming fact is also that, if you look at the age by gender, most affected by this, males normally between the age of 40 and 44 enter divorce. Females a little bit younger, 35 to 39. Now that is prime of life. That is really that is when you've learned your lessons in life, all those kind of things, when your children are kind of like almost out of the house, the first ones at least. So it's really a very, very worrying stat that also 56% of divorces happen in homes where children are younger than 18 years. And that is also very alarming. So more than half of divorces, the children are suffering in those homes because of that. One more stat I can give you is also alarming. Is just the length of marriage, mostly affected by divorce. If you look at this, 5 to 9 years are the biggest. That's the age of marriage. 5 to 9 years marriage. 27% of divorces are in that bracket. 5 to 9 years old marriages. The next one is 10 to 14 years, 19.5%. And then 0 to 4 years is third, 17.5%. So 77% of divorces happens before the oldest child would leave home. If you break it down to that, that's the crisis we're sitting with. And lockdown has just increased this number significantly.
Yeah. And with regard to that, the other problem that lockdown and this whole COVID pandemic has caused is the reality of unemployment. Just yesterday, unemployment stats being released, and they're saying that 34.4%, nearly 12 million South Africans are unemployed. That must also have a massive impact on marriages. Talk to us just a little bit about that, if you don't mind, Tobie.
Yeah, it definitely will. I mean, if you think of the stress that comes with that into a marriage, it just compounds any trouble that's already there, any struggles that are already being faced by a couple. Think of it, you've already got 2 people coming from 2 different backgrounds, bonding in a single relationship, staying in the same home, sleeping in the same bed, all those kind of things. And if you put extra pressure on that, like take away income, that just raises the anxiety levels to critical levels, and marriage will suffer because of that. Now, I mean, we've just talked about unemployment, but if you think of just lockdown alone has had its effect on it. There's less marriages because of lockdown, and there may also be this tendency of less divorces. And you may ask why? Well, the system is under pressure. So, divorces can't be processed that fast. and it's costly, and people don't have that much capital in your money available at the moment. So there's a big problem, because now you've got people just living together or just staying together for the sake of whatever, and it just compounds the problem. It just makes it worse.
Sure. We're chatting to marriage coach and somebody who's been in the ministry and helping marriages thrive for many, many years, Tobie Verreynne. Thank you for your time this morning, and for all those that have just joined in. We really are just wanting to focus on a moment at this moment with regard to marriages, specifically South Africa. And that's what I love about Tobie and his wife, Sanel. They live in South Africa. They've got a heart for South Africa, and they have a heart for marriages in South Africa and in the South African context. So with regard to all this negative news, how do we help our marriages to thrive, to grow, to get better?
Yeah, I think we all know the saying that prevention is better than cure. So it's the same in marriage as well. If you can prevent something, if you can prevent a marriage deteriorating, do that. Get there before you need to get a cure for that. Because people mainly go to marriage coaches or for marriage counseling when it's almost too late. They come to us when it's really very difficult for them to find a way back and to trust each other and all those kind of things. So really, prevention is better than cure. I'm going to give you one single word to the listeners, and this is free of charge, free advice. The word is, you've heard this many times, but here it is: intentionality. You've got to be intentional about your marriage. You do something now. Don't wait. Don't do something later on and say, oh, it's okay now. We're doing okay now. And then later when the problems start to rise, you say, oh my goodness, I think we need to do something now. No, that's too late. Do it now. Be intentional about it now. Do something now. Do something regularly, and invest in your marriage. So it's like a car service. I mean, you take your car for a service very regularly according to a schedule. Now, unfortunately, we don't have schedules for marriage, which I think should be something we bring in or something like that. But if you neglect your car service, you're going to build up sludge in the engine. You're going to start hearing some noises, and you're going to see some red lights going on. Now, that happens in marriage as well. You're going to pick up some problems. You're going to find that the performance of your marriage is not that great. You're going to hear some noises that wasn't there before, and you're going to see some red lights going on. So there are things in place to help with servicing your marriage. I would highly recommend that people get into those things and really make a point of being intentional about looking after their marriages.
And the beautiful thing about it is there are so many resources available, and there's so many options out there. But what is important, obviously, in all of this is to get godly wisdom and godly advice. And that's why we're chatting to Tobie this morning, because, there are lots of people that have opinions and have got solutions, quote unquote, solutions to, great marriages. But the reality is that the Word of God and the Christian way is the way, simply because God invented marriages, and Jesus needs to be the center of the marriage. So that's so important.
Sure.
So Tobie, with regard to that, one of these possibilities of intentionally helping your marriage to thrive is a 21-day new and improved marriage challenge. Tell us about it.
Yeah, this is a marriage challenge we started in August last year. We used to call it the 14-day marriage challenge, and then we broadened it a bit to 21 days, where we take couples through 7 critical things necessary for marriage. And it's just incredible just to see how God is using this tool in marriages all around South Africa. And we've even had people from international, outside of South Africa do this. But it's short video clips. It's like 7 to 10 minute video clips. That we give you a teaching, and then we give you an assignment to go with that you can go practice at home, that you can practice together. So it's not time heavy, but it has a real impact. So it's incredible just to see the interaction also on the group that we have, the community that travels together, the couples that encourage each other and share from their own experiences. And it's really, many times we see raw and real stuff coming out, which is powerful. Because then you come to the place of change, and you encourage someone else with what you are going through yourself and what you can share on the group. So yes, that's happening from Tuesday next week, the 7th of September. We're starting with that for 21 days, and we hope that people will join us for that.
Tuesday, the 7th of September. Isn't that 2 weeks from now? So yesterday, 2 weeks from now, I think, because we're on the 25th of August. I think so.
You're right. I think you're right.
Yeah. So you got an extra week.
Oh, good.
It is. Sure. That is good. So from Tuesday, the 7th of September, and for people to find more details on how to register for it.
Okay, they can go to our website, www.crosspoint.org.za. And as you scroll down, you'll see 3 pictures. And the left-hand one will tell you 21-day marriage challenge. And you can just follow the prompts to see that the cost is 200 Rand a couple. That is like less than a McDonald's meal for a whole family. So it's really worth every cent of that. And we don't want to make it too expensive because we want people to get into this.
Okay, fantastic. So again, the website address is crosspoint.org.za, and we'll put that up and scroll it at the bottom of the screen that is live on Facebook and YouTube. Crosspoint.org.za, and that's how you can register. And so great with regard to that. And then also great news, and we're going to just kind of touch on it briefly, but we've got something special that we're going to just confirm with our marketing department and explain nicely a little bit later, and then potentially a couple getting free access to that incredible 21-day marriage challenge, and then something further in terms of a 50% discount for a second couple. But we need both parties, husband and wife, to be committed to this, because it doesn't work if only one is saying, okay, I want to do this, and the other one's like pulling against it. So yeah, that is exciting stuff. So we're gonna work out the finer details, and we're gonna have a competition with regard to that tomorrow. But yeah, thank you so much, Tobie. I think this is so important for people. And again, like you said, 200 Rand, it's less than a takeout meal for a family, and it's going to enrich your marriage. So don't miss out. Go to crosspoint.org.za. Tobie Verreynne, great chatting to you. Thank you for your time, and God bless you and your beautiful family.
Thanks, Jonathan. God bless. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.